It's been 26 years since the last entry in the Streets of Rage series, and fans like myself have been anxiously waiting, hoping that we would someday see another game in the series, and that day has come, and it does not disappoint. Streets of Rage 4 is easily the best beat-em-up since Streets of Rage 3, not only revitalizing a once great series, but perhaps revitalizing an entire genre. Since we last took to the streets with Axel, Blaze, and the gang, the beat-em-up genre, much like the arcades that predicated their gameplay on, have vanished. There have certainly been a few noteworthy games along the way, like Castle Crashers and Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, but nothing like the 90s when we saw Turtles in Time, Final Fight, Double Dragon, and of course Sega's Streets of Rage. 26 years later, we can see that the old formula still works as great as ever. Move from left to right, punch, kick, throw, stab, bash anything in your way as you pummel countless enemies off the screen. And Streets of Rage 4 does that beautifully. It takes a more comic book style with tons of gorgeous animated flair with an absolutely amazing soundtrack that really gives it the feel of the old games. And that's what made Streets of Rage so great in the first place, the feel. More so than any of the other beat-em-ups of the yesteryear, Streets of Rage always had this great atmosphere. From the neon lights and 90s dance music soundtrack, from top to bottom, it just felt like what the textbook should be for a beat-em-up. Streets of Rage 4 takes place 10 years after Streets 3, and the story doesn't really change all that much. Not that it really had a massive story to begin with. Axel and Blaze are once again joined by Adam, who is only playable in Streets of Rage 1, and are also now joined by newcomers Cherry and Floyd as they take on Mr. and Mrs. Y, who are, you guessed it, the children of series villain Mr. X. But the story itself never really mattered in these games, it was always about the gameplay. And it plays perfectly, and is easy for newcomers and spot on for series veterans. Each character has a different playstyle with attack speed and defense. Each has a unique ability that takes a bit of health, giving it a risk-reward-like system on when you should use it, and now they've also added a star attack, which you find throughout the stage and performs a mega attack that takes out many enemies but are best saved for bosses. While the game itself can be completed in a couple of hours, there are plenty of reasons to come back, whether it's to play as a different character or to try out the classic mode, where the character sprites are replaced with vintage-looking ones. There's also an arcade mode in which you have one coin to complete the entire game. Streets of Rage 4 is easily the best beat-em-up in years, reminding us of how great these types of games are when they are done well. Hopefully next time, it just doesn't take 2 decades for us to get another one. If you like this episode, be sure to hit that subscribe button, check out our podcast on iTunes, or come hang out on Twitch. We'll see you next time, and as always, thanks for watching.